Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Mukami, the environmentalist. Now today I want us to look at the impacts of climate change when it comes to different economic activities, and specifically in this video we're going to look at the impacts of climate change in the agricultural sector. How is the agricultural sector being affected by the changing climate? That is what we shall talk about here. Now, before we get there, I want you to subscribe to my channel. Hit on that subscription button. Click on that bell notification down there. That means you're subscribed to my channel. And anytime I post a video, you're the first one to be notified. You come and watch when it is still fresh. We're going to look at agricultural sector as a whole. This will include pastoralism, will include horticultural farming and all other type of farming. So we're not going to specify to livestock, to horticulture. It's all of it together. Now the impacts are almost the same. They can be felt in different ways, and they are general. They cut across all sectors. For example, one of it is the increase in the frequency and the intensity of the weather conditions. Now, how does that affect agriculture? For example, extreme weather condition. One of it is drought. It gets dry, but now the extreme is drought. Now, if the frequency of the droughts are increasing, if the intensity of the drought is increasing, what does that mean? It means we are going to be affected more, we as farmers. Now, drought means the rainfall did not fall for a period of time. So all the crops that me as a farmer I had planted means they have all dried. The animals that I had means they do not have any food, so probably they are going to die, or I'm going to sell them at a loss, so that I don't want to see my cattle dying. I better sell them to somebody, to the butcher or something like that. So that means me as a farmer I have been affected by the drought, because it leaves me nowhere. I do not have the crops I was expecting. I've invested in the tomato, my 2-acre tomato farm, and now drought has come. I do not have what will get my tomatoes. They did not do well, they dried. So it means me as a farmer I have been affected by the changing climate. Now we have data, or I have some data here that I want to read for you of the frequency of the droughts that has been happening. This is from the Kenya Meteorological Department. Listen, due to drought, the climate famine frequencies have reduced from 20 years. That is from 1964 to 1984. There was a drought in 1964. The next one happens in 1984. I hope that's true. I was not born. That is 20 years. Now then, the next one that happened, it happened as from 1984. The next one that happened in 1996. Those are 12 years. So it has reduced from 20 years. Now it is 12 years. Now the other one happened in 2004. That is a difference between 1996 to 2004. They are about how many, between 1984 to 1996, that's a difference of 2 years. There was another one that happened in 2004, and the other one happened in 2006. There's a difference of 2 years. There is another one that happened in 2007, another one in 2008, another one in 2009. Means that is annual. You can see the frequency between one drought to the other is reducing from 20 years to 12 to 2, and now annually. Now you can imagine, as of now, if you are supposed to get data, the recent data, what it would mean. That is not good news, because the frequency increasing of famine is not a good thing, especially to the farmer. It means I'm going to invest 50,000 in my 1 acre, in my 1 hectare of farm, and I'm not going to yield. Then next year come, I think this year is going to be a good year. I invest again 50,000, and then drought comes. That means I am losing. We are not developing. We are not moving ahead. We are counting losses. The other one is floods. you find some areas used to flood. Yes, we used to know it is going to flood, and we even took advantage of the flooding. There are some people who did rice using the floods, because the river was going to be filled up, and the overflow from the river, they would direct it to their farm, and they would do some rice farming or fish farming and stuff. Now, assuming the intensity of the flood increases, the frequency increases, this means there's going to be a flood this year, next year, the other year. It means, you know what happens when floods come? They carry away our possessions, they carry away our animals, the crops that we had planted are swept away by the floods. True? Now, not even, as much as that is not enough, the flood is going to reduce the quality of our soil. Soil erosion is going to happen. The soils are going to be degraded by the floods. That means the next time I plant on that soil is not going to be as productive as it was before the floods. Now, these are just two instances of how these weather conditions, extreme weather conditions, are going to influence us as farmers. Okay, now let's go to the next. Crop failures. Crop failing, the crops are going to fail in different places. Different animals are not going to do well in different places. Assuming, for example, a good example is tea and coffee. They do very well in cold places. Now, due to climate change, the atmospheric temperature is increasing, the place is warming up. What does that mean? It means the coffee and the tea is not going to do as well as it used to do. Now, there's a problem because we are going to reduce on the amount of yield we used to get. True? You will find some crops are going to do poorly in some areas that it used to do well. You find, assuming in Laikipia, there was a certain maize variety that used to do well, but now as the temperatures are increasing, as the climate is changing and it's becoming more hotter, that crop cannot do it there. So it means we have now to start looking for the next maize variety that is going to do well there. So crops are going to fail. Specific animal species are going to not do well in some places. You find you have dairy farming. Some animals used to do very well in the highlands. Now, with the increasing temperature, they are not going to do well anymore. That is not a good thing. True? Now, the other one that is going to happen is outbreak of diseases. You can be able, it is very, very, very these days it is very easy to hear foot and mouth, the Rift Valley fever, those who are dealing with livestock. These things were not there when we were a bit young. True. The frequency of an outbreak was not that much. Even when it happened, the spread was not as fast as it is happening now. So the frequency of these diseases is going to increase. New diseases are going to come up from nowhere. We do not know, but some new funny diseases are going to come up. We have your maize, and then from nowhere, just some funny pests come and sweep off our fields of maize. We have the locusts, which are used to happen once in a big while. Like, with all my age, I had never seen locusts. I've heard of them now. I'm not saying they came because of climate change, but now such things are going to happen. They will come by, then they will take long before they disappear. Such things. It means some pests, some disease-causing microorganisms could not survive in cold. But now, because this place was cold and now it's warming up, now it means these diseases can be able to survive here. These pests can be able to survive here. So it means now if you had your animals, your crops here, and now this pest could not survive then, now it can survive. It means it's going to affect your crops or your animals. So diseases are going to come up. Pests are going to come up. New pests, new diseases all over, everywhere, because now some of them, the weather condition could be conducive for some, whereas of course some of them on a beneficial aspect cannot be able to survive in, assuming the place is hot, now it is cold. Some diseases causing microorganisms or some pests cannot survive there, so they disappear, and now you have a bit of peace. So it is important. Climate change is going to cause both positive and negative, but it is very, if it is causing positive, well and good, but the problem is when it causes negatives, it gets to the extreme. The other one that is just like we have talked of claim of crop failures is also failing of the forage for the animals, those who have animals. Now if the fields go dry, there's several grasses that used to grow someplace, now these grasses don't grow there anymore. It is what you use to feed on your cattle. Now that is not a good thing. So the fields are going to dry. There's going to be reduced amount of forage. Even the quality of that forage is going to reduce. Now that is not a good thing. Now if we go to get technical, you find the ratio of carbon and nitrogen in this fodder gets altered, and now that is not good for the quality of these livestock or your animals. So these are just a few. There are so many ways you're going to be affected. Like if the temperatures are increasing, it means you're going to water your plants, and then the following morning the sun is so high, the temperatures are so high, so all the water that you had given to your crops evaporates to the atmosphere, it is lost. We're going to find that rivers are going to dry where we get our water for irrigating our farms. And now these are some of the things that are going to happen. It is intertwined. You cannot be able to separate agriculture alone and climate change, because these things are going to happen to us all. The soils are going to be poor. It means agriculture is not going to be good. Livestock production is not going to be good. It's going to affect different sectors of all these. Now, assuming the famines are increasing frequently, it means we have people who are suffering because they do not have food. True. Now if there's extreme famine, the government has to come in and feed the nation. That means the money that could have been used to develop the country is now used to feed the nation. It means we have reduced on the rates at which we are developing. And as we know, we are a developing countries. Resources are not there for us. We do not have financial resources available for us. Now it means we are going to use to strain on the resources that we have. What resources do we have? Developing countries have natural resources. So we are going to strain on these natural resources to be able to feed the masses. That means we will destroy the environment even more. Like for example, if we do not have food and the country has gone broke, it is going to drill more petroleum in Turkana or more coal in Turkana so it can be able to feed the nation. Just a scenario, of course, it's not going to happen that way. That means we're going to drill more, we're going to destroy more, we're going to produce more carbon from the drills and from the burning of that fossil fuel that is causing more climate change, and now climate change is going even to hit us even more harder. And the cycle continues. So agriculture is going to be affected and has been affected by the changing climate, both positively and negatively. But now the problem is negatively, it influences food security, it influences food availability, food accessibility, influences food system stability. We are not sure if we are going to have it next year, so we do not know if we are supposed to sell or store our foods. So agriculture is being affected and is being hit hard by the changing climate. That is the reason we need to start changing how we do things here so that we can be able to reduce on the climate change. So I will see in the next video where we shall be talking about the impacts of climate change when it comes to other sectors. Apparently we talk about forestry and climate change. So I will see you there, and God bless you and keep safe.